Okay, so here is a quick video of chapter 11, anatomy. I hope you guys all are doing pretty well. The first bone we're going to look at is the radius right here. So you have the proximal head, and then you have the distal head. So the proximal head, it is disc shaped, and the middle portion over here is indented slightly, and it articulates with the capitulum of the humerus. So this is the capitulum. So you can tell if it's your left or your right looking at the distal head. So the distal head should be flat, facing anteriorly, and the radial tuberosity here should be pointing medially. So we know that this has to be the left because it's flat at the distal head and the radial tuberosity points medially. So the radial tuberosity is right here, and it's the large bump that is just distal to the head of the radius. So a muscle attaches here, and in terms of anatomical position, it always points medially towards the ulna. So I actually broke my radius jumping on a trampoline as a kid. So interesting fact, broken arms are the second most common broken bone among kids. So here we have the ulna. It's pretty easy to recognize because you see the notch right here, which is known as the trochlear notch. So the trochlear notch here can be found on the proximal head of the ulna. And the reason it's called the trochlear notch is because it articulates with the trochlea of the humerus. So the smooth surface here points anteriorly. So it articulates like this. So the superior portion of the ulna is known as the olecranon process. And it's the superior bony portion right here. So the reason it's known as the olecranon process is because it articulates with the olecranon fossa back here of the humerus. So the inferior portion is known as the coronoid process, and its name comes from the fact that it articulates with the coronoid fossa up top here of the humerus. So you want to ask yourself, is this your left or your right humerus? And is this your left and your right, or your right ulna? And one reason you can tell is the ulna will articulate right with the trochlea down here. The radial notch of the ulna should be pointing laterally. So it should come right next to the capitulum right here. So it's on the lateral side of the ulna, and it articulates with the proximal head of the humerus. So just distal to the coronoid process, you have the ulnar tuberosity, which is right here. It's on the anterior surface of the ulna. Okay, next we're going to look at the bones of the hand. So these are your carpal bones right here, and there are 8 of them in your wrist, and they're arranged into 2 rows. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they allow a lot of flexibility of your wrist, so you can move your hand like this. And then there are 5 metacarpals. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you always number them starting at your thumb, which is most lateral. So if you're confused why the thumb is most lateral, it's important to think about this all in terms of the anatomical positioning, which you can see right here. They articulate proximally with the top row of the carpals and distally with the phalanges. Okay, so the phalanges are right here, and there are 14 phalanges. Okay, I screwed up, so I wanted to redeem myself with an update. So you have the thumb here. This would be, right, my right hand. So I wanted to show you how you label these. Each individual bone is a phalanx, and you label starting most laterally. You label distal and proximal. So distal means far away, proximal means close. Proximal, digit 1. Distal, digit 1. So this would be digit 3. So this is the proximal phalanx of digit 3, middle phalanx of digit 3, distal phalanx of digit 3. So I hope that clears up some confusion. Okay, just wanted to show the movements of the shoulder joint. So this would be flexion of the shoulder joint. This would be extension of the shoulder joint. Remember, adduction, ADD, is whenever you're adding your limbs back to your body. This would be adduction of the shoulder joint. This would be abduction of the shoulder joint. If you're trying to think about medial versus lateral rotation, moving your shoulder like this would be medial rotation of the shoulder joint, and then this going out backwards kind of would be lateral rotation. Okay, so there are 4 muscles of the rotator cuff. The first one is the subscapularis. It is anterior. Then you have the supraspinatus. Supra meaning above, spinatus meaning spine, so above the spine. Okay, and then there's the infraspinatus, meaning below the spine. And then you have the teres minor. So the mnemonic for the rotator cuff muscles is SITS, S-I-T-S. Okay, so here you have the teres major, then you have the pectoralis major, then you have the latissimus dorsi. The hardest part here is to realize that the muscle comes from the back and then wraps all the way around to the front and has anterior attachment points. So that changes the action of the muscle, so it's a little counterintuitive. And then you have the deltoid, which actually has 3 parts. So the biceps brachii has 2 heads, one short and one long. Remember, bi means 2. And we just learned about the radial tuberosity. So the biceps brachii attaches distally all the way down there. And then you have the brachialis. So this is deep to the biceps brachii. It attaches distally to the ulnar tuberosity. Then you have the triceps brachii. Tri meaning 3. It has 3 heads. And the distal attachment point is the olecranon process of the ulna. And then you have the flexor digitorum profundus. You can tell by the name, it helps flex your wrist and your fingers. And then you have the extensor digitorum, which helps extend your wrist and your fingers. Okay, so that is all I have for today. I hope that was really helpful. I had a lot of fun making this video. It's 10 o'clock, my hair looks like a mess, and I didn't take a shower, and I need to sleep. So I think I'm going to leave the library and go to bed.